Hello everybody, this is Kane Severance, and this is Pathfinder Kingmaker. So, been trying to decide what mode to do this in. I'm a little concerned with the fact I don't mind having tougher fights, but I would rather be fighting tougher enemies, tougher actual enemies, than having their stats and armor class just artificially raised. Part of the reason is that I'm very familiar with Pathfinder rules. I play a lot of Pathfinder pen and paper games, and so I'm familiar with how armor works and saves work, and I feel like if I change that, well, it just kind of changes the way the game works. You have a certain amount of armor, you have a certain amount of dexterity. That means your armor class should be a certain level, and so if they break that, I don't really want to mess around with it. Now, if they're not messing with the actual stats and they're just giving them increased, or excuse me, if they're not messing with the formula and they're just giving them increased base stats, that wouldn't be too bad. None of that, none of that. I don't care about any of this other stuff. We'll go hard mode. It's probably fair. So I've given some thought as to what I want to play. There are a few builds that would be fun. I thought about doing a kind of a monk into Dragon Disciple build. Oh, I like that guy. I don't remember him. But I think I want to try either Magus or either a Kinsai Magus or an Eldori Defender into Duelist. So let's see here. We're going to go with Human. We're going to need the feats, whichever one of those we go with. We don't want to be scrawny, but we don't want to be massive, because this is not a strength build, either class that we're going to do. There, he looks nice and dour. We're not going to be playing a nice guy in this, so that might be a little bit different from what other people are putting out there. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's probably the closest to what our friend in the portrait has. Some people have complained about the portraits. I do wish there were more, but I'm pretty happy with the quality of what we've got. By the way, I played through the first little bit, not very far at all. I just wanted to get a feel for what I wanted to do before I actually started recording. So there we go. Let's take a quick look here. So the Magus build I'm thinking of is Sword Saint. I said Kinsai earlier. It's in the books they're called, the archetype is called Kinsai, which means the same thing. It's a Japanese word for Sword Saint. And this is actually a class that's somewhat modeled off the old 3.5 Weapon Master, or excuse me, the 3.0 Weapon Master class, because you get actually a lot of increased critical threat capacity. So it's kind of neat. You get some bonus feats. You lose some of your casting ability for increased martial ability. Plus you get something called canny defense. So you add your intelligence bonus as a dodge bonus to armor class, but only 1 point per level. So the first couple levels are pretty rough. Now let's see, if I did fighter, or defender, I do wish they would fix these tooltips, because they don't always pop up the way they should when you hover over. Yeah, they get dueling sword proficiency, regular fighter feats, second level you get bravery. You don't get anything Eldori related until third level, defensive parry. Just get +1 to AC when making a full attack. Now what that makes a difference. That means the first round of combat when you're moving, you're not going to get that bonus, but afterwards when you're sitting there attacking all round, you should get it. Weapon training all fighters get. The other thing is if I go into duelist, disarming strike, that doesn't seem like it's going to be really useful. Steel net. I'm leaning towards Kensai, to be honest with you. And another thing I don't like is that you can see when the tooltips work. You can see the there it is, the prerequisites for the prestige classes, but you can't actually look at the prestige classes, which makes it difficult if you don't really know what they do. I know that duelists are one-handed builds. Like the Kensai, they can get a scaling intelligent boost to their oh my god, I'm going to keep calling it Kensai. They're like the Sword Saint. They're going to keep getting an intelligent boost to the armor class. And they get some other bonuses. I think they may get intelligence to damage or something like that. It's been a while since I've messed around with a duelist. You know what? I'm not going to mess with all that. We're going to go with Kensai. Oh, this is cool. I think I missed this last time. You can actually set up your palette. That's very cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so yeah, again, we're going to get a chosen weapon. So you basically pick one weapon. That's the other thing that's tricky about this kind of, or this archetype in particular, is you're going all in on one weapon. And so the chance exists that this game will not provide magic weapons of that style. So you run that risk. Maguses, or Magi, I never really knew which the plural was. They kind of offset this because they've got their arcane pool, which lets them enchant their weapon as a swift action. They can only do it a certain number of times per day, but it's a significant amount of times per day. Let's see, it's half your level plus your intelligence modifier, and we're going to have a decent intelligence modifier. We're not going to go full in on it because we're primarily a martial character who's got spells to basically add a lot of damage. And it's not really going to come online until a little later, so we're going to have to be careful the way we play it at the beginning. So, alright, I think we're good on this screen. Okay, ability points. So, Dex. We want to have dexterity at a maximum. The reason being, our armor class is going to be pitiful for a little while. You know what? We might go 18 because that's pretty good too. So maybe not a maximum, like I just said. I'm going to contradict myself because we want to do some other things. We want 16 intelligence. That will let us cast up to our highest level spells. In Pathfinder, you need your score to be so, like for example, if you're going to cast third level spells, you would need a minimum of a 13 intelligence. Now, so Magus gets up to 6th level spells, so 16 intelligence will be enough to cast all of them. I think we even get some bonus spells from that. Does that tell me this? I think so, because I think without a bonus we would not actually get any spells to start with in that first slot, because of that penalty that the Sword Saint Magus gets. I remember that time. We're not going to dump strength because we don't want to have a penalty to our damage, and we don't want to struggle carrying things. We're going to go 14 con. We're out of ability points already. Jeez. I'm going to dump a couple points out of wisdom and put them in charisma. You don't need charisma, but I want persuasion. With the kind of game that it is, persuasion's important. Since we're intelligence and we get a decent number of skill points, so we're going to go persuasion, knowledge arcana, knowledge the world, athletics. I could use magic device, but I just don't really see the point. We'd be able to use scrolls, divine scrolls, that we normally wouldn't be able to. I don't know what kind of magic items they put in the game, so I don't know that I'd get a lot of use of that. And we can use all arcane type stuff, so this isn't quite as useful. Now they may have some story stuff, like there may be some like conversation options, or those little scenarios, those book scenarios. You know, those might pop up, and we might miss having this, because I really wish perception was a class skill. I hate not having perception, but going from a -1 to a +0 just seems so wasteful. Especially since we're not gonna have the feats to really like take skill focus in it or anything. So I think maybe stealth. See, stealth can be useful. You can get closer before casting spells and getting ready. Get a little closer to the enemy. Mobility could be useful for getting into positioning. But you know what? We'll just use magic device. We'll stick with our strengths and see what happens. If it's useless, it's useless. No big deal. We got plenty of skill points, and we got some good stuff here. Persuasion's good. 2 knowledge skills is good. Hopefully we'll find some companions that will help with the nature and religion. So part of, speaking of companions, part of Pathfinder and these kind of games in general, you want to be thinking about what kind of party you're going to have. So, you know, the Magus is a nice class because it's a martial with some arcane casting abilities. So you can kind of supplement, you can kind of be a little bit of the fighter, a little bit of the wizard, but you're not really going to bring the utility that a full 9th level caster would bring to the table. You're also not going to bring any kind of divine stuff, obviously, so you will need some form of healing, some form of someone who'll learn restoration, lesser restoration, healing spells, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so you're not going to be that guy. We're also going to want someone with thieving skills, like I think so trickery and trickery, stealth, and perception for finding traps, for picking locks, for finding secrets. Yeah, we definitely want one of those. I'm thinking actually it would be great to have a bard, so I'm glad we start with one. So anyway, let's finish this and we'll talk a little bit more about party. 3 feats. So chosen weapon. We're gonna want something. So we're gonna want something we can use weapon finesse with. And here's another thing that I think they fell short on. They don't. When I right-click here in the weapons and the feat, it just brings up the tooltip for the feat. It says Estoc, which is the weapon, but it doesn't tell you about the weapon. And I know from experience that the Estoc can be used as a gosh, I'm drawing a blank. sorry, a finesse weapon, but it doesn't tell you that here. I think, and I'd like to use the Eldori dueling sword, but I can't remember if that's here it is, dueling sword. I can't remember if that uses weapon finesse. I think weapon finesse will actually tell you. Yeah, with a light weapon, elven curved blade, S-stock, rapier, or spike chain. So is it just the duelist that gets to use the dueling sword as a finessable weapon? Bonus combat feat. Was there something down here I missed? No. Huh. I'm almost positive you can use a dueling sword as a finessable weapon. Well, you certainly can in Pathfinder, but it's a real shame. I want to use it because dueling sword. I would like to use it because excuse me, the whole this campaign takes place in Brevoy. It starts off in Rostov, specifically, which is a city in Brevoy, and they are famous for their Eldori dueling schools. See, the Eldori Sword Lords of Brevoy. And my idea is this fella here, he's going to be a he will have attended the Sword Lord school. He'll have some dueling ability, so he's going to play him like he's a duelist, but he's got some magic tricks up his sleeve, and he's learned to fight with them. And he probably is considered to be a bit shady, underhanded for that reason, but he doesn't see it that way. Anyhow, give me 1 second. I'm actually going to look it up real quick. Okay, so I'm certain now that if you have exotic weapon proficiency in the did it save my colors? Oh shit, where'd it go? Excuse me. Yeah, it did. Okay, good. Good. Okay, yeah. So it said if you have exotic weapon proficiency in the Eldori dueling sword, then you can use it as a finesse weapon. And chosen weapon, you are proficient in exotic melee weapon of your choice. So we will be proficient in the dueling sword, which means we should be able to get weapon finesse for it. Now, we'll probably figure out real quick or not whether that is the case, because if it's not, then we're going to big whopping +0 to hit with our weapon, because the Magus starts off with 0 base attack bonus. Basically, the way these classes are divided up, you've got some classes which are full martial. They get a full base attack progression, start with +1 to hit, goes all the way up to +20. You have poor progression for things like sorcerer and wizards, which only get 1 every other level. And you've got medium progression, things like Magus. Well, actually, it used to be monk and rogue, but with the unchained versions, I think that may have changed. Rogue may still be medium. I don't know. We're not worried about that right now. But anyway, so yeah, it's important that we get our bonuses to hit up, because we're not a full progression martial character. Okay, so yes, weapon finesse, and so there are some options we've got here. I want to we're going to want to have slashing grace at some point, but you need +1 base attack bonus for slashing grace. I didn't know that was there before. That's actually really useful. So I can come down here, I believe. Slashing grace, there it is. This is what we want. We need weapon focus and weapon finesse, and dexterity 13, and also +1 base deck bonus. They didn't include that on this, but as you can see, I cannot select it. You do get weapon focus as a bonus feat, right? Yeah. So we would have weapon focus. We've got weapon finesse. We cannot take slashing grace because we do not have +1 base attack bonus yet. So that'll show up next time we can take a feat, which will be 3rd level. That'll be good because we'll get dexterity to damage once we do that. There's some other things we want. We want Arcane Strike. It uses a swift action, which is the same thing as your arcane pool, and you can only use 1 swift action a round. So it might seem like they conflict, and they do a little bit, but your arcane pool, when you enchant your weapon, it actually lasts pretty much for the combat. It lasts for 1 minute. That's going to last the whole combat. Each round of combat is 6 seconds, so a minute is 10 rounds. After 10 rounds, pretty much they're dead or you're dead. Yeah, so 1 minute is plenty. So after the first round, when we activate our arcane pool, we can arcane strike every round thereafter, which is nice. It gives our weapons +1 damage. They're treated as magic, and since it's just +1 damage, it doesn't say an enhancement bonus. It can actually stack up plus over the maximum enchantment bonus, enhancement bonus, excuse me, getting my terms confused a little bit. Other things we want. So the Kinsai has armor issues, especially at the beginning. Right now we've got an AC of 15 with no armor because we have an 18 dexterity with a +4 bonus. We got this canny defense, so we get 1 point of our intelligence bonus added to our defense. So, not great. It's, not great for a frontliner. I mean, anyone medium armor, you'd be having just a breastplate would give you 6 armor class, and so, I mean, a cleric with a shield would have +8. I want to say So yeah, +5 for a 15 armor class. That's not very good for a frontliner. So what I want to do is take light armor proficiency. Now, the regular Magus actually gets armor proficiencies, and they get bonuses as they go up to where they can cast in heavier and heavier armor without getting rid of the arcane penalty. Kinsai's Sword Saints don't get this. They were basically designed to be without armor. But their abilities say in no armor or light armor. So here's the thing. If you wear armor, you've got an arcane spell failure chance. And most of the time, it's not worth it to have a chance for your spells to fail. In our case, though, the first couple levels, we've got 1 spell slot, 1 memorized spell. So if we lose that spell because of a miscast, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be all of our damage potential, because we're pretty much just going to be a fighter at the beginning, kind of a dex-based fighter. So this penalty is not going to be a big deal. And then you've got this arcane armor training, which reduces your spell failure chance by 10%. Now we're going to want something like a chain shirt, and off the top of my head, a chain shirt either has 15 or 20% arcane spell failure chance. So this won't get rid of it completely. Excuse me. But later in the game, you'll be able to get armor made of different materials, and if we can get a mithril chain shirt. Mithril is basically very light metal. It reduces a lot of the penalties, the armor check penalties that the armor has. It also reduces the spell failure chance by 10%. So with arcane armor training, if we wore a mithril chain shirt, we would be able to wear it without any chance of failure. Plus, the good thing about a chain shirt versus no armor is you can enchant a chain shirt. So we can get it additional armor. +5 enhancement bonus would give us +9 to our armor class from that. And that would stack with our canny defense and our dex bonus. So, I think that's a good option. So for this, even though we can't really make complete use out of it yet, as far as, you know, the whole arcane armor training thing, we're going to go ahead and get it. So we got weapon finesse, right? And armor proficiency, and dueling sword. I'm going to feel really silly if they did not implement weapon finesse on dueling sword, because they didn't put it on the feat. That's what concerns me. Nowhere on there does it say dueling sword. But, you know, they pulled these... A lot of these descriptions were pulled straight from books, and some weapons were added in certain books that, you know, and then didn't get re-added to the feats in the previous books. And the description of the dueling sword specifically calls it out. That's again why I wish they would include the weapon descriptions in this tooltip. Okay, I think we're happy with this, with our feat choices. Let's go to spells. Okay, so we get to pick a lot of spells because we've got a high intelligence. We're not going to get to memorize a lot of spells, so, you know, our eyes are going to be a little bit bigger than our stomachs here. Shocking Grasp is the bread and butter Magus spell. You're going to be delivering touch spells through your weapon with the spell strike ability starting in the 2nd level. And so you want good damage touch spells, and Shocking Grasp is a good damage touch spell. It starts at 1d6, goes all the way up to 5d6 at 5th level. It's a good solid damage boost. And it's a 1st level spell, which is good because it's the one you're going to have the most of. Again, not at the beginning, but you will. What else? Well, we're probably going to want to have shield. We're not likely to have a shield bonus often. We're never going to be carrying a shield, and there's not much that gives shield bonuses besides, well, shields. So the shield spell's good for that. The Magus doesn't get mage armor, which is why we're actually going for that chain shirt, because the armor bonus is hard to get. Now there are bracers of armor that a sword saint could wear that don't count as armor but give you an armor bonus, but they start at +1 armor bonus when you start finding them at the early levels, and they scale up slowly, and they're super expensive for the amount of armor you get for them. So I think this more conventional way will be, well, I mean, it's not a conventional method for a Magus, but conventional armor as opposed to mage armor. So anyway, okay, so we got Shocking Grasp, we got shield. What else? Color spray is good at low levels. Doesn't really get good at high levels, which means we shouldn't take it, because how do I get rid of it? I don't want it. Oh, okay, I guess I have to click on another box. Some of these, see, this game, man, I mean, it's good presentation, it's really clean looking, really attractive art. It's just, you could tell this team was rushed. You could tell they just didn't have enough time, because there's some things that just, you know, could be better. You pick a spell, you should be able to, like, click it to remove it. You should move on to the next spell you can select. Yeah, it's just there's things that aren't really intuitive. So, do we want Corrosive Touch? Well, Corrosive Touch, yes we do. It does less damage than Shocking Grasp, which I don't really understand why. Acid's not that much more useful than lightning. It is in the PnP version, but we're not going to be melting locks in the game, I don't think, and that's not something that we're going to be able to get away with here. So, but we want it because there are going to be things that are immune to electricity, and there's some things that are weak to acid. There's some things like trolls that have regeneration that you need acid and or fire to prevent them from regenerating. So let's take the Corrosive Touch. We'll take man, it's hard to tell because things like Vanish has tons of utility in the PnP, and I just don't know how much use we'll get out of them. But anyway, we got 3 more, and we're not going to be using all 3, so we can afford to be a little bit adventurous here. I think I want to take Expedition... God Lord. I think I want to take Expeditious Retreat because if we need to chase down enemies, that's one way to do it. give yourself a lot of speed, and then you can catch them. Let's see. Reduced Person is an option. Some people like it with Dex type builds. I don't like it because even though you get a bonus to dexterity and you get a bonus in attack rolls, not only do you take a size penalty to strength, which will reduce your bonus damage, but you also, smaller weapons do a smaller amount of damage, believe it or not. So like now I don't know if they actually, yeah I do. I was getting ready to say I don't know if they include different weapon sizes in the game, but Amiri is in the game, and she uses her oversized bastard sword, so I know for a fact they have oversized weapons. So I'm sure they implemented undersized weapons, maybe. We'll see. We'll come back to that. But anyway, I don't think the damage penalty is worth it. Snowball. Yeah, it's a ranged touch attack. D6 points of cold damage per level up to 5d6. It's not bad. We're not going to be using ranged touches that often, and if we're going to use something, I'd rather use a magic missile, which isn't going to miss. But then that leaves us one more. And so we've got Burning Hands, we've got Color Spray, we've got Snowball, Vanish. Raven Fieldman's good. Decisions. You know, I thought I had all this planned out already, and True Strike's an option if you're in a fight where you're having a hard time hitting something. Say someone's got a lot of armor and you need to get one hit off. You cast 2 Strike and you get plus 20 on your next attack roll. Sounds great. It's one hit. It's not going to be the deciding factor. We're going to try to make our Magus strong enough to hit things on his own right. Okay, let's go ahead and move on with this. We'll do Vanish. I mean, maybe there'll be a use for it, and we'll get more. Oh Lord, what did we forget? Oh, God, see, this is killing me. Magic Missile. Okay, now we're gonna take Vanish. All right, is that it? Oh, we gotta pick our voice.
We do it my way. Their life ends here.
A little too.
Let's shake a leg.
Strike as one. Our time has come. Together we stand. Let us press on.
This is my path. You're done for. Adventures await.
Someone else would make better use of this. Time's not waiting.
A solid plan.
Forwards! I won't give up.
I shall not falter. Defeat is not an option. Strike as one. I have no need for this. Together we stand.
Sounds like this guy. Yeah, and we're lawful evil. Like I said, we're not nice guys. The months in Pathfinder are named after the deities. Abadias, I guess, for Abadar, Calistria, Pharasma, Gazra, Desna, Sarenrae, Aristal, Aridin. That's gotta be Rovagug. Why the hell would they name him? Rovagug's the god of destruction, wants to destroy all of life. Lamashtu, god of monsters. Nethys, god of magic. Cthulhu. Zol Cthulhu is the god of pain and torment or something like that. Nice guy. Nice guy. Yeah, we're King Severance, so we're going to be Kane. How about that? And this is our stat sheet. I really wish I had had more for charisma, but it's not really useful for our combat statistics, so that's really as much as I could justify doing. And a lot of people hate dumping wisdom because it's your will saves. I kind of do too, but you know what? I'm greedy. Also, Magus has decent will saves. I say that, look at that. You get +2 from your class bonus, which is good, but then -1 from wisdom, which is not so good. Reflex, we've got a good reflex save. We've got a good fortitude save. 30-foot speed. See, this is our AC right now. Now it says 14. It should be 15 when you include K defense. So maybe that doesn't apply until we're in the game, because that has conditions like not using sword in two hands. Oh, you have to be wielding your chosen weapon, and as you can see, we are not wielding our chosen weapon. So, I think we're good. I wish they'd included our chosen weapon here and weapon for proficiencies. Just another minor little oversight. Really though, I love this presentation. I love this little character sheet we've got here. Alright, let's go. Daemons, demons, and devils are 3 different types of creatures, each evil and dangerous in their own way. That is true. That is true.
Our story started at the mansion of an Aldori sword lord. Drawn by the promise of a most dangerous task and a commensurately huge reward, heroes of all stripes gathered here.
And you know what? I'll end this video now. This is the character creation video, and we'll pick up on the next episode. How about that? Thank you guys. See you then.